Look at the Epstein language in the documents revealed so far. We are disposable. We are of no worth. We are subhumans. That's how they see us. So we have to say, not only do we not comply, the entire system is now canceled.
Hey friends, welcome back. Thanks so much for being here. Sean from SGT Report. That's the terrific Dr. Rima Laibow, and she's back to discuss the beast that wants to devour all of us and how we stop it. Additionally, we talked briefly about Candace's new investigation into Erica Kirk's past, and it's an absolute barn burner. Shakespeare comes to mind as it relates to Bozo Bongino. The lady doth protest too much, and that goes for all of the other knee-bending influencers who've jumped on the anti-Candace bandwagon. Friends, don't miss this one. We appreciate you being here. Before we start, just a quick word about a valued sponsor. If you're getting to that age where you're tired all the time, bloated after every meal, and no amount of water seems to help, listen up. My friend Dr. Josh says those are all telltale signs of a dehydrated liver. Your liver is your body's main hydration organ. If your liver cells aren't getting water at the cellular level, it doesn't matter how many glasses of water you drink, the water just runs right through you. And when your liver is dehydrated, everything suffers. Your energy tanks, digestion slows, you bloat, you hold on to stubborn weight, your skin looks dull, and you feel older than you are. Plain water can't fix this on its own, and most electrolyte drinks are garbage. That's why Dr. Josh created a daily hydration drink called LTV. LTV combines clinical dose marine electrolytes with taurine to help your cells actually hold on to water, plus milk thistle and dandelion root to support your liver's natural detox function. This stuff is powerful, and you're going to be amazed at how much better you feel in a very short period of time. So, if you're ready to hydrate your liver at the cellular level and finally feel the difference in energy, digestion, and your waistline, just go to drinkltv.com/SGT. And by the way, it's your lucky day because Dr. Josh is running a special offer where you can get up to 64% off LTV for a limited time. But this deal is only available through my link, which is right below this video. Do yourself a favor and go click it and give your liver the hydration it's been missing. Hey friends, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here. Sean from SGT Report with, I think, a very important critical update for humanity. In fact, my guest is one of the few people in the world who is exposing the method by which the beast is destroying all of us. We're going to get into it on this call with my friend Dr. Rima Laibow. She's the medical director of Natural Solutions Foundation. You can find her on Telegram at Prevent Genocide 2030. And of course, the website you're looking at here, preventgenocide2030.org. Let me welcome her, and then I want to plug her podcast, which is a must-hear once per week. Dr. Rima, welcome back.
Well, thank you. I am delighted to be here, Sean. It's a real pleasure.
It's a pleasure to have you back. Now, I want to pay it forward because this is very, very important. And a lot of people don't realize that you do a must-hear podcast once a week. It's Dr. Rima Truth Reports presents Catalytic Conversations, and it's Saturdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. But how do people find it? How do people tune in?
You can go to the live stream on Rumble, and the channel is People for FOR, People for People 2022. People for People 2022. It's live streamed. The chat is interactive, and it's, I think, vitally important because, as you said, a lot of people are finally waking up to the fact that the UN is bad, that the UN is the source of active destruction, that the Sustainable Development Goals, Agenda 2030, the Great Reset, pedophilia, digital ID, the digital gulag, CBDC, the World Health Organization are all destructive organisms. And people are contending with or trying to grasp and fix the damage at the ends of the tentacles of this multi-tentacled beast. Trump has allegedly withdrawn from the WHO on his first day in office. Although we're participating in WHO, Trump has allegedly withdrawn us from 31 UN organizations and 35 other international organizations, although we're still participating with many of them. And Trump has decried the UN itself, although he just gave it $5.3 billion for reasons unspecified, as far as I can see. So the globalist game is still very much afoot. And that's the significant thing. Our problem is not the Epstein corruption, intelligence, pedophilia, blackmail stuff. Our problem is not the digital gulag. Our problem is not the end of private property ownership or parental rights. Those are problems, but those are not our central problem. Let me speak as a physician. Humanity has been invaded by a parasite which has made its home and is reproducing in every cell of the body politic. This is not a US problem, a Canadian problem, a Zimbabwean problem, a Chilean problem. This is a global problem. And we need to confront the fact that while we're being distracted by all these quote revelations and um, uh, supposed cleansing of the swamp, yeah, right. Well, and Kennedy, of course, bringing us health through glyphosate, as Trump is bringing us health through glyphosate and total surveillance and continued mRNA vaccines and so on. While all that nonsense, that theater is going on, the real problem, the real parasite is totally ignored, which is what all the theater is for. Look over there. Look over there. Don't look behind the curtain. Okay, so what's behind the curtain? How does the globalist beast, and it is a beast, whose intention is destruction, how does the globalist beast operate? It operates through something which has a very unsexy name: regulatory capture.
Mm-hmm.
Every country in the world, including the United States, from the largest governance organizational level, the federal government itself and its agencies, to the states and their agencies, to the municipalities and their agencies in every country in the world. I repeat, in every country in the world has been captured by UN adjacent, UN compliant, and UN participatory policies, programs, protocols, public private partnerships, um, guidelines, amendments, regulations, suggestions, alliances, C40, for example, the city organization, ICLEI, and so on. They have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these systems and guidelines, and every one of them penetrates, populates, and permeates the cells of the body politic. Even if we were to get out of the United Nations tomorrow, totally. And if we were to kick out all of the UN organizations and personnel and activities from the entire United States, and let's just talk about the US for a moment, we are already captured by the parasite, by the regulatory capture. Every agency at every level of governance, whether it's the Department of Education of your state or your city or the Board of Education or the zoning board or the water use board or the whatever it is, every single level of governance and structure which organizes our lives is already under virtually complete control of the globalist Death Star.
Can I back you up
Now,
on that? Let me back you up
sure,
on that because as I process this, this used to be a very much cup half full show. I always tried to present our cup as half full. We want to see the bright side and reveal the dark side. But, lately it's really starting to feel like the powers that be, through regulatory capture, which you just mentioned, have us cornered. It's like checkmate. It's like they're saying, what you going to do about it? Let me just show you a couple of examples. First of all, Dr. Rima's right about this
ah,
glyphosate thing.
yeah,
This glyphosate thing is out of control. Are you kidding me? We know glyphosate causes cancer. It's in the blood of everybody. It's in our water. It's everywhere. It's destroying our bodies and our environment. And President Trump gave these people a blanket amnesty, essentially, from any future lawsuits, folks. That's regulatory capture. But oh, by the way, this might be the funniest post of the year. For anybody not following Candace's new expose on Erica Kirk, give it a shot because I got to tell you, the woman on the right is who Erica says is her birth mom. That's
right,
Lori Franze. The woman
right.
on the left, due to just the first episode that Candace has done in this Erica Kirk expose, because Erica Kirk's been caught lying time and time and time again.
Right.
And now it's apparent she's lied about her entire past history. So I don't want to reveal who the woman on the left is. I think people should tune in. But, what do your eyes say? Do you think Erica looks more like the woman on the right or the woman on the left?
That's hard.
Okay. Anyway, I try to infuse humor when I can. I think that is one of the funnier posts of 2026. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton says she knew nothing about Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. However, there is an email to Jeff Epstein saying, I know you're close with Hillary, but if she gets the nomination and you vote for her, I will effing kill you. I will effing kill you. Anyway, we know that they were close, and the Epstein ties continue to bring down powerful people, which is the good news. And wait for it. We're going to talk about regulatory capture and why I agree with Rima in 1 second. I don't want to agree with her, but I do. Breaking: President and CEO of the World Economic Forum. How would you say his name here? Is it Borg?
Jorge Brende.
Thank you so much. He's resigned due to the Epstein files. And by the way, in the Epstein files, I'll say it time and time again, Epstein, in his own words, says, as you may know, I represent the Rothschild family. So, coming back to my guest, Dr. Rima Laibow, here's the thing. When you talk about regulatory capture, I couldn't help but write down FBI and DOJ because the DOJ is not doing anything about who really murdered Charlie Kirk. They don't seem to care. They're not doing jack diddly about the Epstein files, no
Assuming
arrests.
he was murdered.
And I think the FBI allowed Jeffrey Epstein to be jailbroke. I think he's alive and well, Rima. You want to talk about regulatory capture? It's like they're saying, what the hell are you going to do about it, plebs?
That is the half full part of what we're talking about today. There is a half full part. If you will go back to the preventgenocide2030.org URL, but add /C3, C the letter ABC, C3. If you will add that and put up what comes up after you do preventgenocide2030.org/C3, this is what we do about it. We have now, I do not care for the purposes of this activity, that is saving humanity. I do not care about the corruption of the United States Congress. I take it that anyone who is in an elected office is controlled and corrupt, and they're controlled by the worst forces on the planet, of which Jeffrey Epstein is a now somewhat visible middle man. You have to understand he is not a kingpin. He is a middle man. But that's another show. Anyway, I am not talking about having Congress have a sudden epiphany and say, oh my goodness, I've been corrupt. Now I have to do the right thing. Not at all. I'm talking about pressuring Congress because their job, every elected official's puppet masters have put them in place in order for them to keep control of the control. And anytime, every time, the masses, you and I, raise our voices in sufficient numbers at sufficient levels of coherent demand and say, don't you dare, and tell them what they must do to make us quiet and happy again, or quiet and complacent again. They do what we tell them to do. It requires mobilization. It requires numbers. What do they have to do? There is a bill currently before the Congress, both the House and the Senate, of the United States. That bill is called the Disengaging Entirely from the United Nations Debacle Act of 2025. And it says we get out of the UN 100% and we get the UN out of the US 100%, which is good, but not good enough. It's necessary, but not sufficient. That bill has to be amended in two ways. And we, you and I, the people, have the power to create the pressure necessary to cause these amendments and the passage and enactment of the bill to happen. The two amendments are, okay, we get out of the UN and get the UN out of the US. And the UN, the US is the only country that has the power to make any difference. And we require every regulation, protocol, policy, procedure, all of the regulatory capture that is in violation of the US Constitution, but is compliant with the UN Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which we can talk about in a moment, which is anti-constitutional. Every one of those regulations gets pulled, tossed out. If we need a regulation, we replace it with one that's constitutionally compliant. If we don't need a regulation, we make governments smaller and less intrusive. That would be cool. So, one, regulatory capture is reversed. And two, the United States is hereby forever prohibited from ever joining any organization which has the capacity to become a world government. Okay? Those are the two amendments that have to happen. Now, how does that happen? One, we engage in a massive public relations campaign to make regulatory capture a household phrase on the lips of anybody who's even half conscious. All the people who have been vaccine injured, all the people who realize that they've been had and that the whole propagandemic was, what comes out of the rear end of a political bull. We make everybody who's saying, wait, this isn't right, this isn't good, we make everybody uncomfortable enough and give them a legitimate target for their outrage, which is we got to get rid of regulatory capture. And then we have to make sure that it is implemented. So Trump, during this Congress, before the midterms, because if the House or the Senate flips blue, this bill will never pass. Trump has to be presented with this passed and amended bill. He has no choice but to sign it. And then we, the people, are responsible for implementing the part of the bill that says the regulatory capture is reversed. Now, if you want to know whether regulatory capture has any impact on your life, do this experiment. And this is laid out very clearly on the Council of Concerned Citizens page, the C3 page that you were just looking at. Put into any search engine or several search engines the following question: what are the UN compliant and UN adjacent guidelines, regulations, policies, protocols, and programs and you can put in the name of your city, you can put in your zip code, you can put in your profession, for instance, in medicine in Missouri, if you want to know what the State Department of Health in Missouri is doing, or in transportation or banking or whatever you're interested in. And you will see a laundry list roll out, pages and pages and pages and pages, that will tell you that this is not my imagination. These people have had a minimum of 80 plus years since the United States joined. Actually, we never legally joined, since the United States allegedly joined the United Nations. I don't believe we're legally a member at all, but that's another discussion. In the 80 plus years since that happened, they've been working undercover under guise of beneficence and humanity and kumbaya and love and all that inverted reality. They've been putting these regulations and programs and policies in place from the most granular level to the international geopolitical level. And that's their tool. We could get out of the UN tomorrow and it wouldn't make any difference because if we allow the regulatory capture to continue, they've won. And what's the prize for them? The elimination of humanity,
Right.
the destruction of the human genome, the subjugation, the transhumanization of human being. Now, some people say, well, it's satanic, it's Luciferian, it's demonic. I don't know, maybe it is. All I know is that politically it's death. Personally, it's death. Socially, it's death. Morally, it's death. Educationally, it's death. Culturally, it's death.
Can I add
Maybe it's
something?
demonic.
No, it is demonic. And let me just add, when you say this, I don't want to be hyperbolic. I want people to hear me loud and clear. What has been revealed in the Epstein emails is that the people at the highest levels not only are Luciferian devil worshippers, they traffic in children, they harm children, they murder children, and in some cases, they eat children and drink the blood of children. So you want to talk about death? It is literally a death cult.
And let me agree with you and let me correct you and because I disagree with you simultaneously. I'm good at that.
Hmm.
Okay. Yes, that is exactly what it is. You are less important to them than a child
Right.
because you have no ritual value to them unless mass murder has ritual value to them, in which case, what the hell?
Well, and an innocent
But
child is as close to God as they can get, and they hate God. That's why they love to defile and harm children, to hurt God.
but let me now disagree with you. These are not the people at the highest level. These are disposable, dispensable middlemen. The people at the highest level have names we do not know, and they have faces we never see.
Right.
The people at the higher level use people like Epstein. Now, I wrote on my Substack, which is called Dr. Rima Truth Reports.substack.com. And by the way, there is no paywall. Everybody gets the same information. I figure if I'm putting out life-saving information, the fact that you do or do not pay for it is irrelevant. You can have the information. If you want to support it, that's great. If you don't want to support it, take the information and disseminate it freely with my blessings. So, yes, that is my Substack. And by the way, that is a video worth watching. That
This one?
the still that the one with the woman looking up
Yeah.
there. It's a short clip that's very important. You might want to show it. Do you want to share the screen and show it?
Yeah, let's do that.
My name is Alexis.
Alexis, please leave my lecture room. I don't want to see you at one of my lectures ever again.
I don't understand.
I am not going to ask a second time. Thank you. Why are there laws? What are laws for? Anyone?
Social order?
To protect a person's personal rights.
So that you can rely on the government?
Justice? Thank you. Tell me, was I unfair to your classmate just now? Indeed I was. So, why didn't any of you protest?
Right.
Why didn't any of you try and stop me? Why didn't you want to prevent this injustice? You see, what you have just learnt, you wouldn't have understood in 1,000 hours of lectures unless you lived it. You didn't say anything because you weren't affected yourself.
Sorry, there's two competing pieces of music playing. I'll continue.
And this attitude speaks against you and against life. You think it doesn't concern you, so it's none of your business. Well, I'm here to say, if you don't help bring about justice, then one day you too may experience injustice, and there will be nobody there to stand before you.
And there you have it. That, Sean, is the crux of the matter. This is our hill to either live on or die on, and it affects every one of us.
Yeah, it sure
We
does.
are facing an adversary which is ruthless, which is boundaryless, which is amoral, beyond immoral, and which has as its ultimate goal our total destruction. There is no one on the planet who is not affected by this predatory disease, this parasitic infestation. Therefore, if anyone turns away from this, they are like the students in that class. Well, that's not me. We are facing the intentional extinction of humanity as humans, the intentional destruction of our genome. And we either do something about it right now, the tool of that destruction, while all the stuff is going on about the digital gulag and the ostriches and child trafficking, that's all real, but it's not central. The tool of the central destruction is regulatory capture. We either stop it or we are destroyed by it.
Do you think that I want to talk a little bit about the State of the Union on Tuesday night, but do you think that the release of these Epstein emails, I find them very valuable. I think they're critically important. I've said that it is one of the two biggest stories of the year, the other one being the assassination of Charlie Kirk, who really did it. But do you think it's part of a demoralization campaign? Because again, it seems like they're going to say, what you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it, pleb? And then that sort of leads me to the State of the Union on Tuesday night. If we don't have a serious country, if we have people in Washington, D.C. who are not serious people, how in the world do we defeat this beast that you describe, Rima? Because half these people refused to stand and cheer for anything that was positive for our nation. It just feels like theater from top to bottom.
It is theater. It is one bird with two wings. One wing is red, one wing is blue. The bird is controlling what the wings do when they flap. And the bird is the globalist cabal whose front-facing visible side is the United Nations. Now, if we get rid of the United Nations, there are 12 different organizations ready to step in and say, well, we're the good guys. They were the bad guys. You can trust us. We're on your side. We believe in sovereignty. No, they don't. It's the same globalist cabal. We either step in and take control by this process of ending the regulatory capture, or we wave our hands and flap around in the dance that they've choreographed for us. The Epstein files, and what about the other 3 million emails and documents that haven't been released? What about those? Epstein was absolutely horrible in all the ways that we're talking about. He's a middleman. He's not the top, and he's a brilliant distraction. Today it was released or leaked or taken from the Epstein emails, and they're valid. They haven't been doctored. I don't know that. That says that Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, was murdered by Mossad because he basically blackmailed them, said, if you don't give me 400 million pounds, I'll tell everybody what I've done for you. And he was a master spy manipulator, and intelligence blackmailer and so on. Well, that's interesting, but really, does that solve our problem? Does that solve the sexualization and destruction of children and parental rights and property rights and agriculture and the fact that glop meat and glop milk and glop butter are now legal in Canada, and glop meat and glop milk and glop butter are now legal, and glop breast milk are now legal in the United States, and we have replicon mRNA vaccines to destroy the rest of us who didn't take the vaccine themselves? Does that really solve the fact that these are intentional murder strategies? No. The only way we can solve it, and that's why we're asking people to join, it's a membership, to raise the money, to do the public relations, and to have the lobbyist in Congress. We need a lobbyist. We need our own lobbyist walking the halls and having the essential conversations in Congress, not a bribery lobbyist. We're not a pharmaceutical company. We need a lobbyist to say, Congressman, do you understand what this means for you when you're no longer a useful apparatchik? Those conversations are essential. Now, we don't have a lot of time, Sean, because if in the midterms the theater is being set up so one or both houses will flip, red wing, blue wing, red wing, blue wing. Once that happens, this bill is dead. What are we going to do? And that's a call from a friend in Sweden whom I'm not going to talk to.
Let me ask you something. I know you've been on the Alex Jones show. You've been on
Mhm.
so many different alternative media shows over the years, real news shows like mine. I appreciate you coming on. And who do you
Pleasure.
trust in the space? And the reason I ask is because one thing that is interesting, you may not know this, but one thing that's interesting to me about Candace Owens' investigation into who actually murdered Charlie Kirk is it has exposed a lot of people on X who are unthrottled. These are people that actually enjoy wide reach, and the algorithms seem to favor them. A lot of these people get to still be on YouTube. I don't, and they've been revealing themselves as being real knee benders, targeting Candace Owens with talking points like she's a demon, she's evil, she's a monster, she's satanic. And these people, Gunther Eagleman, Graham Allen, Han Shaughnessy, Cat Turd, Tim Pool, Robbie Starbuck, Steven Crowder, Nathan Livingstone, Dan Bongino, who just, retired from the FBI after a 10-month stint. It says a lot more about them than it says about Candace Owens. And I just want to ask you, who do you trust in the space? Where do you go to get your real news and information at this point?
I am not a Bible believing person. I do not take most of my direction from the Bible, although I think the Ten Commandments are pretty cool. But it does say some pretty interesting things here and there in the Bible, one of which is, by their works shall you know them. And if you watch over a long time carefully, you will see discrepancies and odd allegiances, which are their works, or you will not see those. You will see people taking risks and putting themselves forward no matter what, to tell the truth as they perceive it, which can change, by the way. Truth may be what it is, but our understanding of truth can change over time. Um, and so I trust very few people.
Yeah.
I like quite a number of people, and I hope that those people are legitimately doing the work that they believe has to be done. But why is Alex Jones no longer asking me back on his show? Why is that? Even though we had, very, very good audience response each time I've been on the show, one has to wonder. I'm saying foundational things. Very few people are saying this. I want everybody to say it. I want regulatory capture to be the watchword that people go after and change and destroy. I don't want to own it. That's fine. But why isn't that being picked up by the right people, by all people? Why is this not an interesting concept? Why I look at who takes up what particular theme. from the orchestrated communications. And I am not terribly encouraged. On the other hand, if there are people whom I have questions about, and they are willing to give wide footprint distribution to important, realistic concepts, that's a good thing. So I don't say, no, I won't go on so-and-so's show unless they're, a neo-Nazi or tremendously, for instance, Stu Peters. I was on Stu Peters' show and we were having a conversation during which he said to me, don't you agree that all of the world's problems will be solved when we kill every Jew on the planet? And I said, no, I do not agree. That is a vile thing to say, Stu, an absolutely vile thing to say. Now, Stu Peters has revealed himself as a man full of hate, Christian Schmistian, doesn't matter, a man full of hate, vituperation, and playing the game of the globalists to divide, conquer, and sow hate, discord, and distrust everywhere. In which case, no, I would not appear on his show no matter what. So there are some limitations, but in general, yeah, if you're going to take a correct message out, I'm going to help you do that. Present company accepted. I love you. I trust you.
Well, thank you. Well, no, I do too. I've been following you for years and years and years, as you know, and I'm just so glad we were finally able to connect. A couple of names whose shows I would like to get you on if I can. One with whom I have a connection, Seth Holhouse, Man in America. Have you been on
Right.
Seth's show?
I have not.
We'll get you on Seth's show, I think. He's a
Good.
great, great guy. I really like Seth. He gets a lot of reach on Rumble. The algorithms really help support
Right.
his work. And then Clayton Morris and his wife over at Redacted do very good work. Are you familiar with
Yes,
them?
I am familiar with them. And actually, these folks have a lot of things coming at them. I have reached out to the folks at Redacted and I said, hello,
Yeah.
we really need to talk. But they're busy folk and they have not responded.
Okay.
So
Well,
if
Jimmy
you can
Dore.
make an introduction, and Jimmy Dore,
Jimmy Dore's
I love it.
fantastic. Yeah, and
Love
I
it.
don't really have direct lines to Jimmy or Clayton Morris, but Seth Holhouse, maybe we can get you hooked up and get you on there. I just want to do this before we part ways. I just want this to sink in for people. So the goals for their New World Order, there's 17 of them. Maybe there's more. I mean, boy, child
There are
trafficking.
17 articulated goals, and these are their sustainable development goals.
Okay, well,
But what they
legalizing
really mean.
pedophilia is certainly something they're interested in as well. But, when we think about, we talked about this last time too, the Bilderberg Group, the Club of Rome, Council of 13, etc. Those are the think tanks, or I guess you might call them the steering committees for the rich and powerful that sit atop the pyramid. But the most public facing thing that we should be concerned about is, bar none, full stop, the United Nations.
What we should be concerned, the United Nations was evil in its intent from the very beginning. It was a Rockefellerian, predatory, philanthropic New World Order thrust exactly like League of Nations, but a second go round. What we should be concerned about at this point is what the United Nations has succeeded in doing, which is capturing every level of social function and governance. And unless we get rid of the parasite that they've introduced, all of these regulations, unless we end the regulatory capture, we can call ourselves free of the United Nations all we like. We can have the Board of Peace, whatever the hell that means, all we like. It means nothing because the capture has already been accomplished. There is no agency of government anywhere in the world. I was talking on electronically last night with a guy from Algeria. Same thing. It doesn't matter where you live. There's no place to hide, no hiding place. Said to the Lord, Lord, won't you hide me? And the Lord said, nope, the whole thing's globalist, so there's nowhere to go unless we end the regulatory capture. And anybody who will help humanity do that is my at least temporary ally.
Yeah, 1000%. Well, let me ask you this then. where does it fit in to these goals to enslave humanity if and when the people revolt and say, we're just not going to comply. We're not going to comply with your forced vaccinations. We're not going to take the chip. Okay, we're going to throw our phones in the garbage. I mean, that's wishful thinking, but how much of this is human compliance? They can't get away with this if we, the people, don't comply, Rima. At least I'd like to think that's true.
Think of any system, that whether it's the police or whether it's the Department of Health or whether it's the banking system or whatever it is, if we do not allow them to do what they said they're going to do, they can't do it. Now, we are limited in our resources, our human resources, our technical resources. They have a much greater web of resource structure that they've built for themselves. So we have to be surgical and strategic in where we apply our power instead of just applying it here and there and being tactical and looking at problems and trying to solve the individual problems. We have to be strategic. We have to be like Archimedes, setting up a fulcrum at the right point on the lever. And then, as Archimedes said, give me a lever long enough and I can move the earth. Well, give me a popular movement, numerous enough and focused enough, and we can reclaim the earth for humanity from the monsters. Demons or not demons, I don't know, that's theoretical, but the monsters for sure who have decided that we are disposable. Look at the Epstein language in the documents revealed so far. We are disposable, we are of no worth, we are subhumans. That's how they see us. So we have to say, not only do we not comply, the entire system is now canceled, and we will revise it and fix it and make it constitutional. Constitution's a pretty good document. If we use it, we get quite a lot of mileage out of it. The United Nations is fundamentally unconstitutional. It says you don't have any rights. You have no inalienable rights. We give you your rights and we can take them away. It also says Article 29 of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which the United States adopted in 1952. I don't know what that means, adopting some kind of universal declaration for some non-existent body, but that's another story. So it says everything you do, everything you say has to be in support of, in compliance with, and in furtherance of the programs of the United Nations. Really? That's not what the Constitution says. Not at all. So they are fundamentally and diametrically opposed. And in the United States, either you have a constitutional form of government or you have the United Nations regulatory capture. They are completely incompatible. We have to choose, and we can save humanity while we do that.
Yeah.
If we make the right choice.
Yeah. And I want to go ahead.
Again, I urge people to go to preventgenocide2030.org/C3 and join the Council of Concerned Citizens to bring this about. We have active programs. You're welcome to a fireside chat, which is a working group every Tuesday night, where people come together and say, let's do this. Here's what we're going to do. Look what I've prepared. Here's how I suggest. This is what we need to move forward on. And we work together spontaneously. This just happened out of people understanding that it's everyone's problem.
Yeah, it certainly is. And one last thing I want to say, just to buoy people's spirits, when I've had folks on from, say, the Freedom People or other experts who have explained to you guys that the IRS tax code, it's voluntary. Okay, the federal income tax is voluntary. You can opt out. There's ways to do that lawfully. I've done it myself. And I just got my final IRS letter for 2024 taxes saying your case is closed. We need nothing further from you, folks. You do not need to comply. I just want people to realize we have so much more power than we think we have. And they don't want us to realize that, Rima.
Not only do they not want us to realize it, I'm a psychiatrist by trading. And I understand depression pretty well. I understand pathology pretty well too. In depression, the principal signs are that you feel hopeless, you feel helpless, and you feel trapped. It'll be this way forever.
Yeah.
They have socially engineered us through education, through entertainment, through predictive programming, through economic hardship, through overwhelming us with distractions, etc., to feel that we have no power, we're hopeless, we're helpless, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's going to be like this forever. They have socially engineered collective depression. We don't have to agree. As St. Thomas Aquinas said, St. Francis of Assisi said, I cannot stop the blackbirds of despair from flying around my head, but I can prevent them from building a nest in my hair.
Mm-hmm.
We do not have to be helpless. We do not have to be hopeless. And this is certainly not our future if we choose not to allow it to be.
Damn straight. I'm just reminded, I think it was Thomas Jefferson who said, the only reason we resort to government at all, is to protect and defend our liberty. That's it. Full stop. This is the only reason we have a government, folks. And if the government is not serious anymore, as we kind of seen demonstrated during the State of the Union address, I think it's time to opt out. That's just my personal opinion at this point. Here's what we're going to do, though. We are going to leave a link below to Dr. Rima Laibow's Substack and, of course, to preventgenocide2030.org/C3. If you guys want to join this thing for as little as $10 a month to support the effort and get that lobbyist who can go to Washington, D.C. and actually do the bidding of we the people, this is a great way to do that. It's also a great way to get to know Dr. Rima Laibow personally. And again, hey, last thing, Rima, tell people again about your must-hear podcast. It's once a week. Dr. Rima Truth Reports presents Catalytic Conversations, Saturdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Eastern. Again, the best way to find that is what?
Live stream on Rumble and also archived on Rumble. The channel is People for, F-O-R, People 2022. People for People 2022. Wonderful shows there, and I do hope you'll join us. The chat is very active and we respond to it, so please do join us, and then share the Catalytic Conversations with your entire social media network, except in Canada where you can't do that.
Yeah. Just a little inside baseball for those who struggle finding things on Rumble or BitChute like I do. The search functions on both Rumble and BitChute are horrible. So I'm betting that this channel will be difficult to find, People for People 2022. I'm going to just try to find it for y'all, and then I'll leave that linked below too with the other two links. So it'll be easy to find.
If you put the link in this way, it'll be easier. It's rumble.com/user/People for People 2022.
Got it. Okay.
Adding /user/ really seems to help.
All right. Well, I'm going to simplify it even more. I'll find it and I'll link it below so people can subscribe and stay in touch with that particular channel and Dr. Rima Laibow.
Thank you so much.
Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate you again taking your
My
time,
pleasure.
your valuable time to spend with me and my audience today. Thank you, Rima.
My pleasure. Thank you for the work you're doing.
God bless you. Guys, we have to respect and admire and love and cherish and support the people that went under the barbed wire first. And Dr. Rima Laibow is certainly one of those people. The links are below. I want to thank you all for tuning in. Truly, guys, we couldn't do this without you. What would be the point? You guys are really the watchmen on the tower, and I want to thank you all for your support. I remind you every single day, check us out to get the real news 24/7 at sgtreport.com. We've also got the sister site, thephaser.com, and then that automated site, thelibertymill.com. Those are aggregating real news items from sources we trust 24/7. And until next time, may God the Creator bless each and every one of you. Bye-bye.
When will we see justice? I'll tell you what I've not seen. I've not seen any arrests from the revelations in the Epstein files. Over 3 million documents describing horrible things, describing unspeakable things. So much of it redacted. Over 24 people have resigned, CEOs, members of government worldwide. But I haven't seen any arrests or investigations here in the United States from this Department of Justice.